sometimes you order lures and you don't really know what you're doing. You get whatever this is. So what is it? Whitefish or white bass, striper, hybrid, and carp. Kind of looks like a whatever. I don't know what it is. It can be whatever you want. It doesn't matter because anything big enough to eat this is worth catching. Look at that sucker. What? It's literally as big as my head. And it weighs like, I was online the other day and I was looking and I was just like, let's order some really expensive lures, some really high-end lures to do like in the couple $100 range each. But then I was just like, that's a bit excessive. Let's take the second best route and let's go over to Amazon or eBay or whoever, Fishing Tackle Warehouse, all them. Let's see what they have as generic style swim baits and things like that, like the ones I was looking at. And I got on Amazon and I found for $10, and I got it in 2 days. This thing. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 segments. You could get a Goliath grouper with those suckers. My guess is because they had a few different colors and styles that you could select, but the majority of them were like off stuff. Like there was a lot of trout, and there was, I think I seen like a baby salmon. I seen one good one, but it was going to be like a month and a half before it could get here, and I wasn't going to wait that long, maybe another time. But I said, let's just go with this hybrid white bass striper looking fish. Kind of almost looks like a shiner depending on where you would throw it and how you would work it, etc., etc. It's actually decent quality. It just weighs like 7 ounces. I'm really kind of concerned because I don't know how well I'm going to be able to cast this thing. I'll be doing a lot of plop pitching, as I like to call it. It's where you just kind of let the line go and it just lets it hit the water, and you're targeting locations, which if you're going to fish something like this, you're on that point where you're targeting and you're sniping for bass. But as far as the quality goes, like I was saying, it's 4 joints, 4 segments. We got the tail, that part, and that part. Most of these that you get, these secondhand style glide swim baits, whatever you want to call these, whatever neck of the woods you're from, they come with fabric. And the fabric's kind of, either you like the fabric idea because it gives more of a natural swim when you look down, but with this is the metal joints here. I said this, like the Borat guy, but with those joints right there, you're going to get a lot of clacking in the water, like a brr, 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 brr. And I know that because I have some of the smaller ones that are built the same way. So that's kind of a good thing if you're going to fish in a deep tar pond, something like that, or in a swamp. It might be hit or miss with something this big. Maybe like on a high side of a dam or something like that, or some really deep water, you can throw it down and work it. That won't scare them away, all that clapping in the water. I know a lot of guys say, well, that attracts them, and yeah, it does. Fish are attracted. It sounds like that, and I'm no pro by all means, but I also know that fish get scared by sounds too, and if this isn't in the area in which you're fishing at and you throw this sucker down there, it doesn't matter if it's a 14-pound bass. It's going to scare the shit out of them because they're not used to it. And that's just common sense. But since we're fishing with giant, stupid lures this big, we obviously don't have any common sense. Still, I don't know. It's still pretty good. The only thing that's kind of questionable is these giant treble hooks. Granted, this is to scale. It fits well, but you're going to get a lot of bass that are just like their mouths are going to be stuck open, and they're, oh man, it's going to do some damage is what I'm saying. It's very heavy. You can see, you can hear it. That's not the hooks rattling. That's like a giant steel ball bearing they put inside of it. Decent eyes, not the best eyes. Not some of those high ends that like they focus only on the eyes. But it's a quality screen print with like a laminate over it. So I was tapping it a second ago. You know, we're hitting it with a good flashlight there, putting a dent or two in it, and the image is still there, so that's a good thing. Only real legit concerns that I have is tying this up, and it's just, even with my heaviest rod, this is gonna be a challenge, and if I get a giant fish on it, which would be amazing, it's going to still be a little bit of a challenge because, like no joke, this thing is like 7 ounces. It is massive. If I had a digital scale, I'd show you, but I don't. I'll get you a little bit closer image. That's how big it is. It's like an average trout you would get in a river. I would suggest, if you are smart and you have a little bit of common sense, to do what I did and take the secondary route first, even though it might cost you a little bit more money. For, I mean, $10 versus a couple $100 for one of these, the big ones. There's going to be tons of differences, and you're going to, I mean, you'll see the differences obviously with the higher end ones, but it kind of gives you, you take a step back and you think about it and you say, well, I was going to drop $250 on one of these made by this company or that company, and I'm glad I didn't, because I don't have a single rod that I can throw this on comfortably yet that is worth it. I mean, I've got a 7.7 and it's super heavy, and I'll probably throw this on. I got a 9-foot Daiwa carp rod spinning reel setup. I will use this with that and try it out, because tying this up on everyday stuff, I mean, obviously our stuff can hold the high-end stuff like Abu and Favor and stuff like that, but it's a risk. Let me say this. If you're going to buy fishing lures this big and you're going to throw them, be responsible, okay? This isn't like a small crankbait. If you lose a small crankbait in a tree, or you get it, you know, caught in a rock, it's no big deal. This is legit. You could kill like an animal with this. So, like, for example, if you throw it somewhere and you get it stuck and you can get down there and get it out without cutting your line, do that. This is not one of the floating top style glide swim baits. This is one that it's supposed to be mid-level, but I can already tell you it's going to go straight to the bottom. So this is going to be one of the things you're not going to want to fish from, say, like a bank, throwing it across a creek or something, because it's going to stay low. And if there's a lot of snags, trust me, it's going to get stuck. Like this, you ain't getting through no Christmas tree with this sucker. It ain't got no bill, and it's going down like this anyways. Yeah, you're getting hung on everything. They make, you can get other options out there that are affordable like this one, that do float, and you got top column and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't really do a whole lot of top water fishing, and even my glides at top water, I'm just not that good at for some reason. So I'm more of a mid dude. But this one, like I said, it's not going to be any mid. It'll probably sit mid for like 0.4 seconds. But as soon as it hits that water, boom, it's going down. So I would suggest, if you're going to fish this giant behemoth, you do it from above it. As in, you can cast it out, you know, 20, 30 meters, whatever, yards, whatever you cast by, and you can let it sink and go down that way, and you can retrieve it. But if it was me, I would just throw this like 15, 20 yards ahead of me and just let it go way down and just kind of work it. Not necessarily put it in any direction, just kind of work it in that general area, just because it's got this thing here inside of it, this giant weight, whatever this is in there, that's going to be pulling it down. You're going to have so many issues from dragging that, hitting rocks and everything else. And like I said, with the bigger hooks, you're going to get caught on everything. So I would fish from above with this one. If you could imagine yourself sitting in a canoe right here, and this is the water and the big fish is down here, just like this, throwing it out this way and dragging it, there's going to be all sorts of opportunities for it to go south. So that's it. That's that. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. You could kill somebody with